Do you ever feel like you're holding yourself back? Like there's a part of you that chooses comfort over challenge, or excuses over action. That version of you isn't the real you. It's the weaker version that keeps you from living the life you deserve. In this video, we'll dive into Rohn's powerful message about breaking free from that version of yourself. It's time to take control, make better choices, and become stronger, more focused, and unstoppable. Stick around, because this could be the turning point you've been waiting for to finally become the person you're meant to be. Number 1, recognize your weaknesses. You know, most of us go through life without taking a good look at where we are and where we're really going. We tell ourselves we're doing fine, but deep down we know there are areas in our lives where we're not doing as well as we should be. If you want to change your life, you've got to start by recognizing where you're weak. And I'm talking about being real with yourself. I know it's hard. It's tough to admit that we're not perfect. But the truth is, recognizing your weaknesses doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger, because you can only improve if you know where to start. Ignoring those weak spots only keeps you stuck in the same place. It's easy to pretend everything's okay, but pretending won't help you move forward. The first step in becoming the person you're meant to be is being honest with yourself about where you're falling short. Maybe you're making excuses. Maybe you're not as disciplined as you'd like to be. Maybe you keep putting things off because you're afraid of failing, or you think you don't have what it takes. Whatever it is, you have to face it. You can't fix something you won't look at. Now, this isn't about beating yourself up. We all have weaknesses. You're not alone in this. The difference is, the people who make real progress in life are the ones who stop running from their weaknesses and start doing something about them. They get real. They don't just settle for good enough, they get better. And if you want to kill the weak version of yourself, you've got to do the same. So how do you do this? It all starts by taking a look at your habits, your choices, and your mindset. Where are you falling short? Think about it for a second. Are you procrastinating? Are you wasting time? Are you telling yourself that you'll get started tomorrow, but tomorrow never seems to come? You can't let those things control you. If you keep making excuses, you'll stay exactly where you are. The good news is that recognizing where you're weak is the first step toward changing it. You can't fix something if you don't admit it's broken. So take a minute today and think about where you can improve. Maybe it's your time management. Maybe it's your self-discipline. Or maybe you need to work on being more consistent with your goals. Whatever it is, write it down. It's important that you get clear about where you need to improve. The moment you admit it, the moment you recognize it, that's when the real change starts. Now here's where the real work begins. You don't have to fix everything all at once. You just need to take one small step forward every day. It's about consistency. It's about making progress, not perfection. And that progress comes from being honest with yourself and committing to make a change. You're not going to be perfect overnight. Change takes time. But the only way to grow is to admit where you're weak, and then decide to do something about it. When you start facing your weaknesses and working on them, you'll begin to see improvements in your life. You'll feel more in control, more confident, and more capable of handling the challenges that come your way. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop making excuses. The time to change is now. Recognize where you're weak, and then take action. You don't have to have all the answers right away. The key is to start. Once you start, you'll gain momentum, and soon enough you'll find yourself becoming the person you've always wanted to be. Here's the thing. If you don't make a change today, tomorrow will look just like today. The only way to improve is to start now. And I'm telling you, the only way to kill that weak version of yourself is to face those weaknesses head on. So take action. Don't wait for the perfect time. The weak version of you won't go away by itself, but you have the power to change it. Start today, make the decision to improve, and make it a habit. Little by little, you'll see that the stronger, more confident version of you was always there. You just had to recognize it. And when you do, the world will open up to you in ways you never imagined. Number 2, visualize the stronger you. Imagine waking up every day with a clear vision of who you want to be. Imagine seeing the stronger, more confident version of yourself clearly in your mind, the person you've always known you could become. This is the power of visualization. Let me tell you something. If you can't see where you want to go, you'll never get there. That's why it's so important to start by visualizing the person you want to be. You need to get a clear picture of your future self. The person who's healthier, more successful, more disciplined, and more confident than the person you are today. And I'm not talking about a vague idea. I'm talking about a detailed, specific image in your mind. Take a moment and really think about it. Who do you want to be a year from now? 5 years from now? What does that person look like? How do they carry themselves? What habits do they have? What do they do every day? Start seeing that version of yourself in your mind as clearly as possible. The more detailed you can make this image, the more real it becomes. You've got to understand that the way you see yourself is incredibly powerful. Your mind is like a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. If you plant seeds of doubt and weakness, that's what will grow. But if you plant seeds of strength, confidence, and determination, those are the things that will begin to flourish. So the question is, what kind of seeds are you planting in your mind right now? When you visualize the stronger version of yourself, you're planting seeds of success. You're planting the belief that you can be more than you are today. You're telling yourself, this is who I'm becoming. And here's the thing, when you see that person in your mind, when you truly believe in that vision, you'll start taking action in alignment with that image. Your actions will follow your thoughts. It's the law of attraction. You'll start to pull opportunities, people and circumstances that match the vision of the person you want to become. But it's not just about dreaming about a better future. Visualization is about creating a clear, actionable roadmap to get there. When you visualize the stronger you, you're also telling yourself what you need to do. What habits do you need to build? What kind of mindset do you need to adopt? What kind of discipline do you need to develop? These questions all come from the vision you create. When you see yourself as the person you want to be, you'll start seeing the steps it takes to get there. And listen, this process isn't just about seeing it in your mind. It's about believing it in your heart. Your vision has to be so real to you that you can almost feel it. You have to feel the pride, the satisfaction, and the confidence that comes with being the person you want to be. The more real that vision feels to you, the more motivated you'll be to take action every single day. Every time you visualize the stronger version of yourself, you're reinforcing that image. You're getting closer to making it real. Don't let your doubts or fears get in the way. You've got to believe that you can become this person. You've got to see it so clearly that nothing can stop you. When you can see the future you want, the present becomes a lot easier to handle. You might be thinking, this sounds great, but how do I get from where I am now to that stronger version of myself? It starts with small steps. You don't need to figure it all out right away. In fact, you don't have to know every detail of the journey. What matters is that you have a vision, and that vision pulls you forward. The more you visualize who you want to become, the clearer the path will become. The key here is to be consistent. Don't just visualize once and forget about it. Make it a daily habit. Spend time every day, even if it's just a few minutes, imagining the best version of yourself. See yourself being successful, confident, and capable. Picture yourself taking action, making decisions, and handling challenges with ease. The more often you do this, the more natural it will feel. And when you start believing it, the actions you take will reflect that belief. You also have to realize that visualizing your stronger self is a way to program your mind for success. Your mind works like a GPS system. If you set it to the destination of success, it will start guiding you there. But if you don't know where you want to go, you'll end up lost. That's why your vision is so important. It's your roadmap. It's the direction you need to go in. Now let's talk about a powerful tool you can use: affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that reinforce the vision you have for yourself. After visualizing your stronger self, you should follow it up with affirmations like, I am strong, I am confident, or I am capable of achieving my goals. These affirmations will help solidify the image of the stronger you in your mind. They'll start to replace any negative or self-doubting thoughts you have with empowering beliefs. But you've got to remember one thing. It's not just about thinking, it's about doing. Visualization is only powerful if you back it up with action. You can dream all day long, but if you don't take the steps to bring that vision to life, it's just a dream. The key is to take small, consistent actions that align with the person you see in your mind. Every time you take a step forward, no matter how small, you're getting closer to making that vision a reality. And don't expect the road to be easy. There will be bumps, obstacles, and challenges along the way. But when you have that clear vision of your stronger self, you'll be able to push through the hard times. You'll have the motivation and the belief that you're heading in the right direction. And that belief will help you keep going, even when things get tough. It's all about consistency and faith. The more you see the stronger version of yourself, the more you'll start to believe that it's possible. And when you believe it's possible, you'll start to act in ways that make it a reality. Your vision will become the fuel that keeps you going, no matter what life throws your way. So get clear on who you want to become. Visualize that person every day. Make the vision as detailed as possible. Feel it, believe it, and then take action. The more consistent you are, the closer you'll get to becoming the person you see in your mind. The power to change your life is in your hands. It all starts with that vision. If you can see it, you can achieve it. Keep that vision alive every day and watch as it starts to unfold in your life. Number 3, stop making excuses. You've probably heard it a million times, but here's the truth. Excuses are what keep you from moving forward. They're the biggest barrier between you and the life you want to live. And I get it. Life can be tough. Things don't always go the way we plan. There's always something that comes up, right? But the truth is, those excuses are just holding you back. How many times have you told yourself, I don't have enough time, or I'm not good enough for that, or I'll do it later? How many times have you put off your goals or your dreams because you had an excuse ready to go? We all do it. I've done it. We all make excuses when things get tough. But here's the thing. Those excuses won't get you any closer to your goals. In fact, they'll keep you stuck exactly where you are. If you want to create real change in your life, you've got to stop making excuses. You have to start taking full responsibility for where you are and where you're going. It's easy to point to things outside of ourselves, our circumstances, other people, our environment, and say, that's why I'm not where I want to be. But guess what? Those are just excuses. They're things you can't control, and focusing on them only keeps you from focusing on the one thing you can control, yourself. Excuses don't help you get ahead. They don't move you forward. They just keep you stuck. So if you're serious about making a change, it's time to stop hiding behind excuses. It's time to take full responsibility for your life and your actions. Let me tell you something. Every successful person you've ever looked up to has faced challenges. They've had setbacks. They've had moments where they could have made excuses. But the difference between them and the people who don't get anywhere is that they chose not to make excuses. They chose to take action instead. And that's what you need to do too. Stop making excuses and start taking responsibility for where you are. Here's a secret I want you to understand. Your life is the result of the choices you make. If you're not where you want to be, it's because of the decisions you've made up until now. And that's okay. It's not too late to change it, but you've got to stop making excuses and start making better choices. Every time you say, I can't, or it's too hard, you're choosing to stay stuck. But every time you say, I can, and I'm going to make this happen, you're moving closer to your goal. Think about it for a second. How many times have you let an excuse get in your way? Maybe you've put off going to the gym because you're too tired or too busy. Maybe you've put off working on your business or learning that new skill because you don't feel ready. We all do it. But here's the thing. Nobody ever feels 100% ready. Nobody ever has the perfect time. You have to make the decision to stop waiting and start taking action, even if it's uncomfortable or imperfect, because that's the only way you'll ever grow. One of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is to just show up, even when you don't feel like it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. But you do need to stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment doesn't exist. There's always going to be something that gets in your way. But that's just life. You can either choose to let those things stop you, or you can choose to push through them. It's about building a mindset of action. You've got to believe that no matter what the circumstances are, you have the power to change your situation. You have the power to take control of your life. And it starts with taking responsibility for your actions. It's not always going to be easy, but the harder it is, the more you grow. And you know what? It's okay to fail along the way. In fact, it's part of the process. Failure is not a reason to stop. It's just feedback. It's telling you, this didn't work, but you can try something else. Every successful person has failed multiple times. They've made mistakes, they've had setbacks, but they didn't let those things define them. They didn't make excuses. They kept going. And that's why they succeeded. So the next time you feel like making an excuse, stop, take a breath, and think about what you really want. Do you want to stay where you are, making excuses, Or do you want to break through and make things happen? The choice is yours. Every excuse you make is a barrier you put in front of yourself. But every time you choose action over excuses, you're tearing down those barriers and building the path to your success. It's time to stop making excuses and start taking responsibility. Start taking action. It doesn't matter how big or small the step is. As long as you're moving forward, your success doesn't depend on your circumstances. It depends on the decisions you make. So make the decision today to stop making excuses and start moving forward. There's no more waiting. There's no more putting things off. If you want to make a change, if you want to build a better future for yourself, it starts right now. And it starts with one simple decision: to stop making excuses. Take control of your life, own your decisions, and start taking action. The future is waiting for you, but it won't come if you keep making excuses. You've got what it takes to succeed, but only if you stop hiding behind the excuses and start showing up for yourself. The life you want is within your reach, but you've got to stop waiting and start doing. No more excuses. It's time to take responsibility. It's time to act. And the best part, you're the one in control. Let's go. Number 4, challenge your comfort zone. If you want to grow, you've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Let me say that again. You've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because here's the thing. Your comfort zone is where growth goes to die. It's easy to stay where things feel safe and familiar. But let me tell you something. You're not going to get any better by staying in your comfort zone. You won't find success there. You won't develop the skills you need to win. Growth happens outside your comfort zone. It's natural to want to stay comfortable. We all do it. The problem is when you keep doing the same things day after day, you don't get any better. You might feel safe, but you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're not moving forward. The moment you decide to step outside of your comfort zone, that's when everything changes. That's when you start to stretch yourself. That's when you start to grow. So the question is, what's holding you back? What's keeping you stuck in that zone of comfort? It might be fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. I get it. Fear is a powerful thing, and it can stop you dead in your tracks if you let it. But here's the truth. The fear you're feeling is often just in your head. Most of the time, the thing you're afraid of isn't nearly as bad as you imagine it to be. And even if it is hard, even if it is uncomfortable, it's worth it. Because on the other side of that fear is growth. On the other side of that discomfort is a version of you that's stronger, smarter, and more capable. Every time you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more. You prove that you can handle challenges, that you can push through fear, and that you can rise to meet new challenges head on. It's about showing yourself that you're bigger than the excuses and the fear that try to hold you back. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It won't be. It's going to take work. But let me tell you, the more you challenge your comfort zone, the easier it becomes to keep going. It's like building muscle. The more you stretch yourself, the stronger you get. The more you put yourself in situations that make you uncomfortable, the better you'll handle them next time. And before you know it, what used to scare you will be something you face with confidence. One of the most important things you can do is change the way you look at discomfort. Stop seeing it as something to avoid and start seeing it as a sign that you're growing. When you feel that nervousness, that discomfort, that's your brain and body telling you, hey, this is new, this is different, this is where the magic happens. That's your cue to keep going, not turn around. The people who succeed are the ones who keep challenging themselves. They're the ones who look at a situation and say, I don't know how this will go, but I'm going to give it my best shot. They don't let fear or uncertainty stop them from moving forward. They take action even when they're scared, and that's what sets them apart from everyone else. They're willing to take risks. They're willing to step into the unknown. And that willingness to take action is what leads to growth and success. The truth is, the biggest enemy to your success is comfort. The more you stay in your comfort zone, the harder it is to break out. The more you avoid challenges, the more you feed that fear. But the moment you challenge that fear, the moment you push yourself outside that comfort zone, you'll start to see things differently. You'll start to see just how much you're capable of. But it's not just about pushing yourself once and calling it a day. You've got to make it a habit. Every day, challenge yourself to do something that stretches you. It doesn't have to be huge. It can be as simple as speaking up when you're normally quiet, or trying something new that makes you nervous. Little by little, you'll start to notice that what once felt impossible becomes easier. The more you challenge yourself, the stronger you become, and the bigger your comfort zone gets. So how do you start? Start by identifying the areas in your life where you're playing it safe. Where are you holding back? What are you avoiding? Because it feels uncomfortable. Is it taking that first step toward a new goal? Is it confronting someone you've been avoiding? Is it stepping up and taking more responsibility at work or in your personal life? Whatever it is, commit to challenging yourself in that area. You don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to take the first step, and then the next step, and the next. Every time you do, you'll be growing. You'll be expanding your capabilities. You'll be creating a version of yourself that's stronger and more resilient. And here's the thing. You'll never feel fully ready. You'll never feel like you have all the answers. But that's okay. The key is to keep moving forward, even when you're unsure. The more you step outside your comfort zone, the more you'll discover about yourself and what you're capable of. You'll find that the fear you once felt fades away and what once seemed hard becomes second nature. But you've got to be committed. You've got to be willing to take that first step, even when you're scared. Because the more you challenge yourself, the more confident you'll become. And confidence is what propels you to bigger and better things. Here's a powerful truth. The life you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. If you want more success, more happiness, more growth, you've got to push yourself past the boundaries of what feels comfortable. Stop settling for good enough. Strive for more. Challenge yourself every day to be better, do better, and grow beyond what you thought was possible. So go ahead. Step out of your comfort zone. The stronger version of you is waiting, but you've got to challenge yourself to get there. Push through the fear, face the discomfort, and know that on the other side of that challenge, a new you is waiting to emerge. Let's get to work. Number 5. Commit to small daily wins. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's not about making one big leap or achieving some huge goal in a single moment. Real success is built on small, consistent wins that add up over time. And here's the thing. These small wins are what make all the difference. If you want to make a real change in your life, you've got to commit to small daily wins. They are the foundation of everything you want to achieve. Let me ask you this. How often do you set big, ambitious goals and then feel overwhelmed by them? It's easy to look at a goal, especially a big one, and think I'll never get there. That's because we often focus on the end result without breaking it down into manageable steps. The truth is, you don't have to accomplish everything all at once. You don't need to do it all in one day. What matters is that you take small steps every single day. The beauty of small wins is that they compound over time. A small step today might seem insignificant, but when you add up enough small wins, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. Every small action you take is a building block for your success. And guess what? These small wins keep you motivated. They keep you moving forward because each day you achieve something. No matter how small, you get a little closer to your big goal. Let's take an example. Maybe your goal is to lose weight. If you focus only on the idea of losing 30 pounds, that goal can feel massive and overwhelming. But if you break it down into small daily actions, like drinking more water, eating healthier meals, or walking for 30 minutes a day, those small wins add up. You don't need to lose all 30 pounds today. You just need to focus on winning today. And by the end of the week, the month, or the year, those small wins will have added up to something significant. But it's not just about the big physical goals. Small wins apply to every area of your life, your personal development, your career, your relationships. If you want to build a new habit, start small. Maybe it's reading 10 pages of a book every day, or writing down 3 things you're grateful for each morning. Maybe it's sending 1 email a day to move your business forward. Whatever it is, commit to it daily. Small wins in these areas will lead to huge growth over time. Another powerful part of small daily wins is that they give you momentum. The more you win, even in little ways, the more motivated you become. Each small success fuels the next. It's like starting a snowball rolling down a hill. At first it's small and slow, but with each little win it gains speed and power. The more wins you stack up, the bigger your momentum gets. When you commit to these small wins, you're also building confidence. Confidence doesn't come from wishing you were better or hoping things would change. It comes from taking action. It comes from showing up every day, even when it's hard, and doing what you said you would do. The more small wins you accumulate, the more you prove to yourself that you can achieve anything you set your mind to. Here's another thing to remember. Small wins are about progress, not perfection. Don't worry about doing everything perfectly. Just focus on doing something every day that brings you closer to your goal. Perfection will hold you back. The fear of not doing things perfectly will paralyze you. But the key is showing up, taking action, and learning along the way. Every time you take a small step forward, you're making progress, and that's what matters. If you commit to small daily wins, you'll also be building discipline. Discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you develop over time. And how do you develop it? By committing to daily actions that move you toward your goals. It's about building the habit of taking action. Once you make these small actions a part of your routine, it becomes automatic. And when it becomes automatic, you won't have to think twice about it. It will just be what you do every day. Let's be honest. It's easy to get discouraged when we focus too much on the big picture. But when you shift your focus to small wins, everything changes. You realize that success is just a series of small steps. It's about showing up every day and doing the work, even when you don't feel like it. It's about staying consistent and trusting that the little actions will lead to big results. So how do you start? Start small. Commit to one thing today, just one action that brings you closer to your goal. Maybe it's something simple like waking up 30 minutes earlier or taking 5 minutes to meditate. It doesn't have to be huge, but make sure it's something you can do every day. And then tomorrow, do it again. And the next day, do it again. The key is consistency. Another important thing to remember is to celebrate those small wins. Every time you accomplish something, no matter how small, take a moment to acknowledge it. Give yourself credit for showing up, for doing the work, and for making progress. Celebrating those small wins will keep you motivated and remind you that you're on the right path. As you continue to commit to small daily wins, you'll notice that things start to add up. You'll start to see progress in ways that you never imagined. And the best part, those small wins will lead you to bigger wins. The more you win, the more you'll be able to achieve. And before you know it, those little actions you started with will have led to massive success. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. It's not about doing it all at once. It's about doing something every day. Commit to small daily wins, and you'll find that success is not as far away as it seems. The path to your goals is paved with small steps. So take one step today, and then take the next. Keep moving forward and watch how those small wins turn into big results over time. It's not just about getting to the finish line. It's about showing up every day and doing the work, no matter how small it seems. That's where the real magic happens. Let's get to work, and let's make those small wins count. Number 6, develop self-discipline. If you want to achieve anything significant in life, you have to develop one key trait: self-discipline. It's the thing that separates the people who make progress from those who stay stuck. It's the difference between achieving your dreams and letting them slip away. But here's the truth. Self-discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you develop. And the good news is, you can start building it right now with small daily actions. Self-discipline is all about controlling your impulses, staying focused on your goals, and doing what you know you need to do, even when you don't feel like it. We all have moments when we don't want to get up early, go to the gym, or work on our goals. It's easy to give in to temptation and take the easy route. But that's not where success lies. Success lies in the moments when you choose to push through the discomfort, when you choose to do what you know will get you closer to where you want to be. Think about it for a second. How many times have you set a goal for yourself only to give up halfway because it got too hard or you didn't feel motivated? We've all been there. It's easy to start something. It's much harder to finish it, and that's where self-discipline comes in. It's the ability to stick with something even when things get tough, even when the motivation fades, even when you'd rather do something else. But here's the thing, motivation comes and goes. Some days you'll feel fired up and ready to conquer the world, but other days you won't. You won't always feel like working out, writing, studying, or doing whatever it takes to reach your goals. That's normal, but self-discipline, that's what keeps you going even when the motivation is gone. It's the habit of showing up, even when it's hard. So how do you develop self-discipline? First, you've got to get clear on what you want and why you want it. If you're not clear on your goals, you'll struggle to stay disciplined. You'll get distracted by the next shiny thing and forget why you started in the first place. Take a few minutes today to think about your big goals. Write them down. Break them down into smaller steps. And then make sure you remind yourself daily why you want to achieve them. The second key to developing self-discipline is setting up your environment for success. If you're trying to build a habit of exercising but your gym clothes are buried in the back of your closet, it's easy to skip it. If you want to read more, but your phone is always within arm's reach, it's easy to get distracted. To develop self-discipline, you've got to set up your environment in a way that makes it easier for you to succeed. Put your gym clothes where you can see them. Keep your books or study materials within reach. Eliminate distractions so you're not tempted to fall off track. Another important piece of the puzzle is consistency. Self-discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Every time you show up and do the work, even when you don't feel like it, you're strengthening your self-discipline. Over time, these small actions add up and become habits. And when something becomes a habit, it's no longer a struggle to do it. It becomes part of who you are. The key to consistency is to take things one day at a time. Don't worry about how far you have to go or how long it will take to reach your goals. Just focus on what you need to do today. Do the work today, even if it's just a small step. Then do it again tomorrow and the next day. Little by little, you'll build the self-discipline you need to make lasting progress. One of the toughest parts about building self-discipline is learning to say no. You have to say no to things that don't serve your goals, whether that's wasting time on social media, staying up too late, or indulging in unhealthy habits. Every time you say no to distractions, you're saying yes to your future. Every time you resist the temptation to take the easy route, you're strengthening your self-discipline. Another way to develop self-discipline is to hold yourself accountable. You can't rely on motivation to get things done. You've got to hold yourself responsible for your actions. Whether it's setting up a system of rewards for reaching your milestones or telling someone else about your goals, accountability makes a huge difference. When you know someone else is watching or that you've promised yourself to do something, it gives you the extra push you need to stay disciplined. But let's be real for a moment. Self-discipline isn't easy. It takes time and effort to develop it, and you will slip up. You will have moments when you fall off track. That's okay. The key is not to beat yourself up about it, but to get back on track as quickly as possible. Everyone messes up sometimes. What matters is how quickly you get up and keep going. The more you practice self-discipline, the easier it becomes, and eventually it becomes second nature. Remember, self-discipline is what separates the people who achieve their goals from those who don't. It's the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. So every time you do the work, even when it's hard, every time you resist temptation and stay focused on your goals, you're building self-discipline. And that's how you'll get to where you want to be. Now I want you to ask yourself, what's one thing you can do today that will help you build self-discipline? Maybe it's getting up earlier, turning off your phone while you work, or finishing one task before moving on to the next. Whatever it is, commit to it. Make it a habit. And then tomorrow, do it again. Every small action you take today is a step closer to becoming the disciplined person you need to be to reach your goals. Start today. Develop your self-discipline. Build the habits that will carry you to success. And when you look back, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. The power to change is in your hands. But it starts with developing self-discipline. Let's make it happen. Number 7. Set high standards for yourself. If you want to achieve something great in life, you've got to set high standards for yourself. This isn't about being perfect or trying to meet everyone else's expectations. This is about holding yourself to a higher level of accountability, to a higher level of effort, and to a higher level of commitment. When you set high standards, you're telling yourself that you're capable of achieving big things, and you're not willing to settle for anything less than the best. Too many people live their lives by the lowest possible standards. They do just enough to get by. They settle for mediocrity, and they wonder why they never see the success they want. But here's the hard truth. If you don't set high standards for yourself, you won't get the results you're after. You won't push yourself to reach your full potential, and you'll always be one step behind the people who are willing to do the work and set higher expectations. Setting high standards means not accepting excuses. It means taking responsibility for your actions and doing the best you can, day in and day out. It means deciding that you're not going to settle for average. You're going to aim higher, and you're going to push yourself to meet those goals, no matter how tough it gets. The first step in setting high standards is getting clear on what you want. You can't raise your standards if you don't know where you're headed. So take a moment today to really think about what you want from life. What do you want to achieve? What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of impact do you want to make in the world? The clearer you are on these answers, the easier it will be to set standards that push you toward those goals. Once you've identified what you want, start raising your standards in every area of your life. Start with your work. If you want to be successful in your career, don't just do what's expected of you, do more. Go above and beyond. Look for ways to add value. Be the person who's known for excellence, not the one who just does the bare minimum. The world will notice, and opportunities will start to come your way when you set those high standards. But it's not just about your career. It's about your health, your relationships, your personal growth, and every other area of your life. Don't accept average when it comes to your well-being. Take care of your body. Eat right. Move your body every day. Make time for the things that matter. And when it comes to your relationships, don't settle for toxic people or shallow connections. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who challenge you to be your best, and who encourage you to keep growing. Setting high standards also means pushing yourself to improve every day. Don't get comfortable with where you are. Always strive to be better than you were yesterday. Set goals that challenge you, not goals that just feel easy or comfortable. If you're not challenging yourself, you're not growing, and growth is where the magic happens. It's easy to stay stuck in the same old routine, but if you want to see real progress, you've got to raise the bar. One of the most important things to remember when setting high standards is that you don't have to do it alone. Find people who share your high standards and surround yourself with them. You need people who will support you, push you, and help you stay accountable. When you're part of a community that holds high standards, it's much easier to live up to them. They'll help you stay focused when you start to slip, and they'll celebrate with you when you achieve your goals. But let's be honest, raising your standards isn't always easy. It's going to take effort. It's going to require discipline, persistence, and focus. There will be times when you want to give up, when you want to lower the bar and make things easier on yourself. But the key is to stay committed. Remember why you set those high standards in the first place. Remember your vision. When you stay focused on the bigger picture, the small challenges along the way won't seem so overwhelming. Setting high standards also means being accountable to yourself. You've got to hold yourself responsible for the things you say you're going to do. It's easy to make excuses or justify why you didn't follow through. But when you hold yourself to high standards, you stop accepting excuses. You do what you said you would do, even when it's hard. Even when you don't feel like it, you stay disciplined, because you know that's what it takes to succeed. Let's be clear, setting high standards doesn't mean being perfect. It doesn't mean you're always going to get it right. You will make mistakes. You will fall short sometimes. But the key is to not give up. Don't let a failure define you. Instead, use it as fuel to keep moving forward. Every time you fall, get back up, learn from the experience, and keep pushing toward your goals. One of the most powerful things about setting high standards is that they raise your self-esteem. When you hold yourself to a higher level of accountability, when you show up every day and do your best, you start to feel better about who you are. You start to realize that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible, and that confidence will carry over into every area of your life. So how do you start setting high standards for yourself? First, get clear on your goals. Then ask yourself, what kind of person do I need to be to achieve these goals? What kind of habits do I need to develop? What kind of effort do I need to put in? And then commit to those standards every day. Commit to doing the work, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable. But don't just stop there. Keep raising the bar. Set bigger goals. Challenge yourself more. Push yourself harder. And as you do, you'll see your life start to change. You'll see yourself grow in ways you never thought possible. And as you reach new heights, you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. Remember, you are capable of far more than you think. You've got what it takes to achieve greatness. But it all starts with setting high standards for yourself. So stop settling for less. Set your standards higher and watch how your life transforms. You deserve the best, and it's time to start living like it. Let's do this. Number 8. Face your fears head on. Fear is one of the biggest obstacles standing between you and the life you want. It's a natural feeling, but it's also one that can hold you back if you let it. Here's the truth. You're never going to feel completely fearless. Fear is a part of life, but the key is not to let it control you. Instead of running from your fears, you need to face them head on. You need to stare them down and move through them. Fear holds you back by creating doubts, telling you that you're not good enough, or that you might fail. It tricks you into thinking that staying in your comfort zone is the safer option. But guess what? The longer you let fear control you, the longer you stay stuck. And if you stay stuck, you'll never reach your full potential. You'll never accomplish the things you're capable of achieving. So it's time to face your fears head on. The first step in facing your fears is recognizing them. What are you really afraid of? Is it the fear of failure? The fear of rejection? The fear of the unknown? Identifying your fear is the first step in taking away its power. Fear thrives in the unknown. It gets stronger when you try to avoid it. But once you recognize it for what it is, you take away some of its strength. When you shine a light on your fear, it stops being this big, scary monster and becomes just another challenge to face. Next, you've got to stop letting fear dictate your actions. Fear is an emotion, and like all emotions, it's temporary. You don't have to act on it. You don't have to let it stop you from going after what you want. It's easy to get paralyzed by fear and start thinking of all the reasons why you can't do something. But instead of focusing on the what-ifs, focus on what's possible. Focus on what's on the other side of that fear. Think about it. What's the worst that could happen? If you try something and fail, what's the real consequence? You might feel embarrassed. You might have to try again. But is that really so terrible? The reality is, failure is just a stepping stone. It's not something to be afraid of. It's an opportunity to learn, grow, and improve. So don't let the fear of failure stop you from trying. The only true failure is not trying at all. Another important part of facing your fears is realizing that you don't have to have all the answers right now. Fear often holds us back because we feel like we need to know exactly how things will turn out before we take action. But life doesn't work that way. You can't always predict the future, and you don't need to. You just need to take the next step. And when you do that, you'll often find that the fear starts to fade. As you move forward, you gain more confidence, and the fear that once seemed so big becomes much smaller. The key to facing your fears is taking action in spite of them. You're never going to feel completely ready. You're never going to feel like you have all the answers. But you don't need to wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The only thing you need to do is take that first step, and then the next one, and keep moving forward. Let's be honest. Facing your fears is uncomfortable. It's not easy. It takes courage. But that's what makes it so powerful. The more you face your fears, the more you'll realize that they aren't as big or as scary as you thought. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. You start to build confidence. You start to build resilience. And before you know it, you're handling fears that once seemed impossible to face. Think about the things you've done in the past that you were once afraid of. Maybe it was speaking in front of a group, trying something new, or making a big change in your life. When you look back, you realize that you survived it. You made it through, and you came out stronger on the other side. That's what happens when you face your fears. You grow, you get better, and you build the courage to face even bigger challenges in the future. Another important lesson when it comes to fear is that it's often not as bad as we imagine it to be. We create stories in our heads about all the worst possible outcomes. But when we actually face the situation, we often find that it's not as scary as we thought. The fear of the unknown is usually worse than the reality. Once you take that first step, you'll realize that the fear you had was just a feeling, and it doesn't have to control your actions. Remember, fear is not something that has to control you. You are in charge. When you feel fear, acknowledge it, but don't let it stop you. The more you face your fears, the less power they have over you. And the more you face them, the more confident you become in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Facing your fears is about growth. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone and pushing yourself to do the things you're afraid of. The more you do this, the more you expand your comfort zone. And when you expand your comfort zone, you open up more opportunities for success, for happiness, and for personal growth. So what's the next fear you need to face? Maybe it's making that big decision, having that difficult conversation, or taking that first step toward a big goal. Whatever it is, don't wait for the fear to disappear before you act. It might never disappear, but if you take action anyway, you'll find that you're more capable than you think. Fear doesn't have to stop you. It doesn't have to hold you back. You have the strength to face it, to push through it, and to keep moving forward. So face your fears head on, and watch how they lose their power over you. You've got this. Take that step today. Number 9, take full responsibility for your life. But the truth is, the moment you take full responsibility for your life, you take control. You stop being a passive observer of your own story, and you start being the author. When you own your choices, your actions, and your outcomes, you realize that you hold the key to changing your life. Here's the thing. No one else is responsible for your success, but you. Your past may have shaped you, but it doesn't define you. Where you are right now in life is a result of the choices you've made up until this point. This doesn't mean everything that has happened to you is your fault, but it does mean you have the power to choose how you respond to what's happened. You have the power to choose what happens next. When you take responsibility for your life, you stop looking for excuses. You stop blaming the economy, your boss, or your upbringing for why you're not where you want to be. Instead, you focus on what you can control, your attitude, your effort, and your actions. You stop playing the victim, and you start being the hero of your own story. Now, this doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. We all need help from time to time, and asking for support is a sign of strength, not weakness. But at the end of the day, the only person who can make the changes you need to make is you. No one else can do the work for you. No one else can create the results you want. That's on you. Taking responsibility also means letting go of excuses. We've all heard them. I don't have time. I'm too old. It's not the right time. These are just excuses that keep you stuck. They're easy to make, but they don't lead to progress. The truth is, there's always something you can do to move forward. The key is to stop waiting for the perfect moment, because that moment doesn't exist. The only time you have is right now. So start where you are with what you have, and make the most of it. When you take full responsibility for your life, you also realize that your happiness is in your hands. It's easy to wait for other people to make you happy, or for circumstances to improve before you feel good about your life. But true happiness comes from within. It comes from making choices that align with your values, taking actions that move you toward your goals, and owning your journey, no matter how messy or imperfect it may be. Taking responsibility means acknowledging your mistakes, learning from them, and moving forward. We all make mistakes. We all fail at some point. But instead of beating yourself up about it, take ownership. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I do better next time? When you take responsibility for your mistakes, you turn them into valuable lessons instead of roadblocks. And those lessons are what help you grow. It's also important to understand that taking responsibility isn't about perfection. It's not about doing everything right all the time. It's about being accountable for your actions and making the effort to do better. It's about taking proactive steps, even when things aren't perfect, and learning to adapt when things don't go as planned. Life doesn't always go the way we expect, but when you take responsibility, you don't wait for the world to change. You change yourself and adjust to what's happening. When you take responsibility for your life, you also take control of your future. It's easy to blame your past for your present situation. But here's the truth. Your past doesn't have to determine your future. Every day is a new opportunity to make a different choice, to do things differently, and to move closer to the life you want. No matter where you've been or what you've been through, you can always choose to take a different path starting today. This is where the power of mindset comes in. When you take responsibility for your life, you stop letting outside circumstances dictate how you feel or how you act. Instead, you develop a mindset of empowerment. You begin to see challenges as opportunities to grow, not as obstacles. You stop waiting for things to change, and you start changing your approach. You stop blaming the world for what happens to you, and you start asking, what can I do to make things better? Taking responsibility also means setting boundaries and protecting your energy. You can't control everything, but you can control who and what you allow into your life. If something or someone is draining you, it's your responsibility to set boundaries and protect your peace. You have the right to choose how you spend your time, where you focus your energy, and who you allow into your life. When you take responsibility for your life, you stop letting other people or situations take away your power. One of the most empowering things you can do is to take responsibility for your health. It's easy to blame genetics or a busy schedule for not taking care of yourself. But at the end of the day, your health is your responsibility. You have the power to choose what you put in your body, how much you move, and how well you take care of yourself. Your health is the foundation for everything else in your life. So taking responsibility for it is one of the most important things you can do. Taking responsibility for your life means letting go of the victim mentality. Life can be hard, and sometimes things don't go your way. But when you start taking responsibility for your actions and your outcomes, you stop blaming external factors. You stop waiting for someone to save you, and you realize that the power to create change lies within you. You are the one who has the ability to shape your future. So if you want to live the life you've always dreamed of, start by taking full responsibility for where you are and where you're going. Stop making excuses. Stop blaming others, and stop waiting for things to change on their own. The moment you take responsibility is the moment you take control of your life. You have the power to create the future you want, and it all starts with you. Take responsibility today. Own your choices, own your actions, and most importantly, own your future. The life you want is waiting for you, and it all begins with taking full responsibility for your life. Number 10. Commit to becoming 1% better every day. Committing to becoming 1% better every day might sound simple, but it's one of the most powerful strategies for long-term growth and success. The key to progress is consistency, not perfection. It's about taking small daily steps that add up over time. The idea is to make a commitment to improve by just 1% each day. It doesn't seem like much at first, but when you stack those 1% improvements day after day, they create massive results. The truth is, most people want quick results. They want to see big changes fast. But real, lasting success isn't about big leaps. It's about steady, continuous improvement. It's about making small adjustments in your habits, your mindset, and your actions that compound over time to create extraordinary outcomes. So when you commit to becoming 1% better every day, you're setting yourself up for success that lasts. Here's the thing, 1% improvement every day might seem like a small change, but over the course of a year, that 1% adds up to a huge transformation. If you improve by just 1% each day, at the end of a year, you're not just 365% better, you're much more. The compounding effect of those small, consistent improvements makes a huge difference. It's the same principle as investing small amounts of money consistently over time to watch your wealth grow. Similarly, small daily improvements in your personal growth add up to something significant. So how do you start? It's simple. Focus on one area of your life that you want to improve. It could be your health, your career, your relationships, or your mindset. Choose one thing and commit to getting just a little bit better at it every day. It doesn't have to be a huge change. It could be something as simple as exercising for 10 minutes more than you did yesterday, or reading one more page in a book. The point is to make improvement a habit, no matter how small it seems. The beauty of this approach is that it doesn't overwhelm you. We all know how difficult it is to make huge changes in a short period of time. But when you focus on just 1% each day, it feels manageable. You don't have to overhaul your entire life in one go. You just have to make small, consistent improvements. And as you do, you'll start to see the positive effects in your life. One of the reasons this approach works so well is that it builds momentum. When you commit to making small improvements each day, you start to see progress. And when you see progress, it motivates you to keep going. The more you improve, the more confident you become, and the more you start to believe in your ability to reach your goals. This positive feedback loop keeps you on track and pushes you to continue growing. It's important to remember that improvement doesn't always look dramatic. Some days you won't see much change, and that's okay. But the key is to stay consistent. Even on days when you feel like you're not making progress, trust that those small steps are still adding up. They're still moving you in the right direction. As long as you keep showing up and doing the work, you'll keep improving. Another important part of this commitment is understanding that perfection is not the goal. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to make progress. Some days you might take 2 steps forward, and other days you might take 1 step back. That's part of the journey. The key is to keep going. Don't let setbacks discourage you. They're just part of the process. It's the daily commitment to improvement that counts, not the occasional setback. Making a commitment to become 1% better every day also means being kind to yourself. We can be our own toughest critics, and it's easy to get frustrated when things don't go as planned. But remember, growth is not a straight line. There will be ups and downs. There will be days when you feel like you've made huge progress, and other days when you feel stuck. But every step, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. So be patient with yourself and trust the process. The beauty of committing to 1% improvement every day is that it's not a massive sacrifice. It's not about completely changing your lifestyle. or giving up everything you enjoy. It's about making small intentional choices every day that move you closer to the person you want to be. It's about creating habits that support your goals and choosing to be a little bit better than you were yesterday. As you make that commitment, it's important to celebrate your small wins. Every time you improve, no matter how small, take a moment to acknowledge it. Celebrating those small victories helps reinforce the habit and keeps you motivated to keep going. Over time, you'll start to see that those small wins add up to big success. Committing to 1% better every day also means being flexible. Life doesn't always go as planned, and sometimes things will get in the way of your goals, but don't let that derail you. If you miss a day or fall behind, don't beat yourself up. Just get back on track the next day. The key is to keep going. No matter what, it's about persistence, not perfection. As you commit to becoming 1% better every day, you'll start to notice changes in your life. You'll see improvements in your health, in your career, in your relationships, and in your overall happiness. Small improvements build momentum, and that momentum turns into real, lasting results. And before you know it, you'll have transformed your life, one small step at a time. The key to success is not doing everything at once. It's about making small, consistent improvements that add up over time. So make the commitment today to become 1% better every day. Start small, stay consistent, and trust the process. You're capable of amazing things, and this simple habit is one of the best ways to unlock your potential. Remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep improving. Each small step you take is a step toward becoming the person you were meant to be. So take that first step today and commit to becoming 1% better. The results will speak for themselves. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. It's a reminder that real change doesn't happen overnight. It's about the small, consistent steps you take every single day to become better. Now is the time to leave that weaker version of yourself behind. Take action, stay focused, and keep moving forward. The stronger, better version of you is waiting. You just have to decide to show up for it. Thank you for watching. If this message inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs it. And always remember, you're capable of so much more than you think. Keep going. You're on the right path.